All right, so let's get started. So overall, how's your 2021 been so far? Do you have anything big planned for Make Wake?
Um, you know what? I think with everything is hopefully it's happening is that touring comes back.
Yep.
We have 11 artists now on the roster, and everybody's chomping at the bit to get out on the road. So I think with all of that, I mean, Luke's on his 11th single at country radio with Forever After All. Nico
Yep.
just had his one. We're going to radio with a bunch of the other artists this year. So I think we're just really excited for 2020 that gave them a lot of time to reflect, recuperate, and create. For 2021, I think we're ready to get out there and show everybody what we've been doing for the last year. So I'm excited about what 2021 offers us.
Yeah, definitely. Probably a lot of unreleased songs to come soon.
A lot of unreleased songs.
And I know Haley Witter, she's been busy all year, just keeps cranking them out, and they've all been great.
Yeah, everybody's writing like crazy. Everybody from Cleto Cordero, who's in Flatland Cavalry, Drew Parker, Luke, Nico, Haley, Ashland. I mean, all of them are just writing. Jason, Jackie, Taylor, Ryland, they're all writing. I mean, it's been great because they all have the time to really create. And I think so much great music over the next 2 years is going to be rolled out from so many artists in all genres that hopefully took that downtime and said, you know what, let me create. And I think we're going to see some amazing music and hear some amazing music over the next year.
I agree. I think a lot of artists took that time and really made good use of it. So then for a little background, how did you first get into the music and entertainment business before even coming to Nashville?
Wow. So it was a guy named Andy Levine and a company called Sixth Man. And it's been absolutely amazing with what I've been doing with them. And I learned we did music festivals on cruise ships is what we did, and chartered a cruise ship, and then took the most rabid fan bases of music, Kiss, John Mayer, Paramore, 311, John Prine, Lyle Lovett, like just passionate fan bases. And for 15 years, that's what I did. And I worked with the bands, the fans, and the brands to, as we say, tear down the wall between the three of them and really give them an opportunity to get to know each other. So that's what I did. And it was like a PhD in fan interaction. And then when I started Make Wake and worked with my current artists, it's all been about the fans first. What can we do to make sure that they're taken care of? And if they're taken care of, everything else will fall into place. But if you super serve the fans and give them everything that they want, your ticket sales will go up, your merch sales will go up, your streaming will go up, because they feel looked after and they feel appreciated. And that's all we try to do every day.
Right. I know that's a major just kind of component of your whole ideology is just the fans first and stuff. And I know I've been to a fair share of like Luke shows before and stuff, and he always is just so thankful, I guess, like to the fans and stuff. He's like, none of this would mean a thing without you and stuff. And he's written songs obviously about it and stuff before too. I mean,
and the great thing about it is, I wish I would have to say I have to beat this into their heads, but I don't. Like, they get it. It's like you have one conversation with them and you're like, look, this is how it works. It's about the fans. And the next thing you know, they've got it. And then you don't ever have to worry about it. In fact, I got a text last night from Randy that works with Nico that showed a fan, a screenshot of a fan writing a comment saying, I've never felt so appreciated as a fan before. Like, that's all we look for. As long as we can make that connection every day with at least one fan, we've done our job.
Yeah, right. And I will say, so I'm a bootlegger, so I've heard this story a time or two, but for those who haven't heard it, how did you initially end up in Nashville?
So a guy named Bradley Jordan, who runs a company called Peachtree Entertainment, who's a big promoter in the Southeast,
right?
Said, hey man, I was living in California, and said, hey man, you've always wanted to be a manager, always. And if you don't do it, I was 42, is if you don't do it, you're going to regret this for the rest of your life. And everybody has to have a friend like that in their world that calls them on their dreams and says, look, you got to do it now or never. So I packed up everything in California, which I loved. I lived in a little studio, and I was in Huntington Beach, California. I was in heaven. I had all my best friends around me, and I packed everything up to chase my dreams. So I moved back. 6 months after I moved back, I met Luke at a show at the 40 Watt in Athens, Georgia. And I was blown away that night. I was like, this is the guy. Like, he's it. And it took us about 3 months to come together to let him agree to let me manage him. And we started together. I mean, I jumped in the van, like I said, at 42 years old with 5 guys and said, let's go do this. And left a career. And but it was the best thing I ever did. I knew Luke was going to be huge. I knew it. Like there's no doubt in my mind. And it took us about 9 months for us to hit that tipping point to where everything kind of just went in the right direction. But we never lost focus, and everything we focused on was, again, the fans. We focused on putting on the best show for them. And I told Luke from the beginning, I was like, I'll handle everything. You just you write the best songs and you sing the best songs every night, and you put on the best show with your band, and everything else will fall into place. And it did, Luke is an amazingly humble and passionate guy. And then, we started kind of growing Make Wake from there into what I'm very proud of right now with my staff and my artists, and the way that we handle things, and the way that each one of them has come to me has been great. So it's I'm very excited about where we're going and what we're doing.
Yeah, and the trajectory has obviously been just so fast for everything. I mean, usually they say it's a 10-year town, but I mean, you guys haven't even been here, what is it, 5 or 6 years probably?
It'll be 6 years in September for me, and 7 for Luke. So
you guys cut the time way down for that.
We were very lucky. We were very lucky to be in the right place, I think, at the right time, and with the right songs. I mean, I wish I could tell you that I had something special to do with it, but without the songs and the artist, I mean, I'm nothing. All I try to do is just bring some vision to the table, and also just kind of keep the train on the tracks. I mean, and I believe, that might be another big one. I mean, I truly believe in our team and our artists and what they do, but I mean, they have to have the songs, and they have to have the ability to deliver the songs, and they do that. And I think that's one of the big things that we sometimes forget, is if they can't get their art out there to the people the right way, and have them fall in love with them, I mean, what are we really doing? And so I'm very lucky to have 11 artists that can do that.
So did you initially move to town before actually signing Luke?
No, Luke said, okay, you can be my manager. You got to move to town. So I did. I packed up everything and moved to Nashville. So it was, on a wing and a prayer, as they say, and we're flying right now. So we're very happy with it.
Right. And I once read that upon moving to Nashville, you like you said, kind of gave up a great salary and stuff, gave up a lot of just comfort and stuff. So What made you give up the lifestyle of just comfort to taking no commission then for the longest time from Luke?
Yeah, well, I think you have to believe, and I think that's the biggest thing, is if you don't truly believe 100%, I'm an all-in kind of guy. Like, I enjoy to play craps and blackjack. I'm a little bit of a gambler, and not in a bad way, just for fun.
Right.
And I will take risks. I'm not afraid to take a risk. I worked for a company, 6-man, but it was a startup. I mean, we had 50 employees there, so it was truly a startup, and I was one of the first employees. So I've always been in that mentality. So I've never had a fear of failing. I've failed before. I failed in 2 restaurants that I invested in. I've failed in other businesses. You just have to get to that point where you're just not afraid to fail anymore. It's like, look, you fail, you dust yourself up, you get up, you keep going. I mean, but not everybody has that. I guess it's drive, or maybe it's just it is a fear. I mean, it's hard, and I think with more experience in your life, you get to the point where you hit the F it button. You're like, dude, I mean, if I fail, I fail. Screw it, I'll do it again. And once you failed and felt what failure feels like, it's not as bad as you think. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's like, you know what? I screwed up. I didn't do it right. What can I do again? And I failed when I got to Nashville. I mean, I failed early on in my career of management with some other artists that I didn't give them everything that they should have. And I did it wrong. And I didn't build my team out first and build my culture out first, then have that as a base to build the rest of Make Wake on. And I learned, and those are the things that as long as you can fail forward, you're doing a really good job. And that's what I try to do. And I try to instill that in my team too. It's like, look, take risks. And if you fail, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to be mad. You took a chance, and that's what you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Kind of reminds me, I recently heard like Jimmy Allen say, he said, when you don't have really anything to lose, you're like not afraid to give it all, really.
That's true. You
Yeah.
know, average risks get average results.
Right. Right. Some kind of more music business questions then. So how has your team had to adjust to the COVID era?
Well, we all worked from home, which actually turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to us. I mean, everybody got to really get into their own groove.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helped us really find who we were as a team, you know, being able to, we still do team calls and we still talk all the time, but like all of us being spread out all over Nashville or the US, it actually kind of worked better for us. Like people could get up and work at their own pace. Like I like to get up early. I'm up at 5:30 every day or earlier. And I start my day. I have my coffee. I go through my emails. You know, today I updated my computer. That's why I'm on my phone, because it's still in the middle of an update. And, you know, we work like that. Like it's nice to be able to stop in the middle of the day if you're in between calls. And you're like, you know what, I'm going to throw a little laundry in. And then you're able to also save an hour in the morning and an hour at night for your travel time, commute, getting ready, all that kind of stuff. So you're adding time back to your day. So I think that's been the biggest thing is everybody kind of finding their balance, their work-life balance, and it becoming, at least in my experience with my team, it became very healthy. So, and I think what it also probably did is it woke a lot of companies up to the idea that you don't have to be in an office every day, that you don't have to be on top of each other every day. And that, you know, it gives you the opportunity to experience life a little bit better. Like as long as I can have internet and cell service, I can pretty much do my job from anywhere unless I need to be in front of somebody. But I think that's a great part of it is it gave a lot of people, I think COVID created a lot of freedom and tore down a lot of the old antiquated ways of what a work-life balance was.
Right. So do you guys think you'll ever go back to an office setting? Because it sounds like you guys are big fans of it.
I think we will, but it won't be in the typical office mindset. Like, first of all, there will never be office hours again.
Right.
Ever. I mean, if you want to go in at 6 a.m. or you want to go in at 3 p.m., I don't care. I really don't. So that's, I think, a big deal. So if we ever go back to an office building, it'll probably be a modified setup, maybe like a workspace that would be universal to anybody, and more of a area for content and for the artist to do stuff, and more of a hang area than a traditional office area, would be my guess.
Right. So then I know you're kind of like, you're obviously the head of the company and stuff. So do you still do a lot of like management stuff still, or do you?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day. I'm very involved in everybody's career, and as some people might not see it because I've hired really smart managers underneath me, we still talk every day about the clients and stuff like that. They might come to me, and because I want to empower everybody in their roles. And one thing that I do is my managers all have equity in their artists. So that's something that I believe very much so that is a benefit for them. So, but yeah, I mean, I talk to, sorry, my dog is barking there. But yeah, I am very much involved in, at some level where the day-to-day manager is handling this stuff, I'm handling stuff up here, you know, or I'll come in and do stuff down here and they'll jump up here. So it's a very symbiotic and easy relationship that we currently have. And it seems to be working really well for what we're doing.
Right. So then at what point did you decide to start like taking on employees and stuff?
It was when I had learned to, well, let me back up. So the first employee I brought on was a guy named Clinton Brannon. And Clinton is Luke's social media guy, and he's, you know, he runs the bootleggers and stuff like that. So Clinton in there.
Stuff for you.
Yeah, Clinton's amazing. And then Sophia Sansone came on as my assistant, and then quickly moved into Luke's day-to-day role. And then after that, I started to slowly bring on people that I felt were going to be good for the canoe. And when you talk about the canoe, is that if everybody is rowing in the right direction, you can go really fast. But in a canoe, if one person out of 10 rows the wrong way, it can screw up the entire canoe. So I think that was the biggest thing, is getting the right people in. And then once I got the right people in, it was adding in the artists on top of that. So that's what I've been doing, is just trying to find the right people. I mean, I have a couple of interns that ended up starting out as interns that before they even graduated had job offers.
Wow.
So they went right from being interns to being employees, and I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in finding the culture fit and then making sure to keep them on board, and what it is. And then, you know, COVID COVID gave me 3 new employees, people that had been laid off by other companies that I was able to grab up and have part of the team. And I'm a big fan of that. So, I mean, I got very lucky where other people weren't prepared for it. Luckily we were, and we were able to, in fact, nobody got laid off in my company. And we actually ended up hiring 3 people. And then I was able to offer all my employees health insurance this year.
Wow.
So, there were some really great things that came out of COVID, and that's new staff for the company.
Yeah, I would say your team like definitely adjusted well. I mean, because you guys are some of the first ones to like do the live streams and stuff right away. I mean, I think like I know Luke obviously was. I think Drew Parker and stuff was. And
Well,
stuff.
Nico did 2 streams a week for an entire year.
Right.
You know, Haley did them, Ashlyn did them. Yeah, I think, you know, and that's how we started Luke early on. I mean, we had Luke doing, you know, I would go live. I remember being on the road with Luke as when I was, you know, tour manager, and I would just go live during sound check, or like he was sitting in a hotel room, I would just go live. And that was a big deal because it really showed, there was moments to catch that were very raw and awesome. Like when he did Fast Car in a hotel room in Georgia, just sitting in a chair, and he had no idea I was recording. Or when we did Tennessee Whiskey in Huntsville, I can still remember all these things. I mean, it's crazy. Or playing Cone Denim, and getting them doing a cappella backstage. So I think a lot of that stuff was very formidable. And going to Facebook, this was before Instagram really had lives and that kind of stuff. This was all done on Facebook. And it really gave the opportunity for the fan to see behind the curtain. And I think that was a big deal. It's like, look, they see us on stage every night, but what is it like in the backstage area? What is it like just sitting in a hotel room every night? And, you know, it's not, as back in the day with Motley Crue, it's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's like, all right, we're sitting in a hotel room. What do you want to do now? Well, I'll play the guitar. All right, cool. Like, you know, move those McDonald's bags out of the way. Let's see what this looks like. And that's the that was the sexiness of it all. But you got to see a lot of really great music and a lot of great content of the real artist behind the scenes. So that was a big deal of what we did.
Yeah, I think like you're saying how raw it is and stuff. I think there's a video. I think it's him, like Luke performing like "Don't Close Your Eyes" by Keith Whitley, like behind stage or behind the scenes with like Rob, and then someone starts knocking on the door in the video and stuff.
That was in a hotel room. Yeah, I mean, that's the stuff that we did, and we really enjoyed it, you know?
Right, and that stuff has been, I think, very much still like cherished and stuff today. Like you see that stuff spreading throughout different Facebook groups and stuff still today. Like, look at these early, like beginning.
But they all love doing that. I mean, Haley and Ashland and Drew, I mean, they all love doing it. Right. So, you know, you just get it to that point. You're like, hey, man, people are watching. People are at home, and they want to see you, and they want to do this kind of stuff. So, you know, give it to them, and they do.
Right. So then you went from a roster of 1 with just Luke to now you said 11. So what's it been like to just watch your organization just grow?
Well, it's exciting. It's exciting. Right. It's daunting at times and scary, you know, because the career of the artist rests on your shoulder. So you have to be like, am I doing everything I can for them? Am I making the right decisions? You as a manager, some days you're absolutely 100% so sure of the answer. And there's other days you're so second guessing yourself that you don't know if you're even on the same page. And I think that's what makes it exciting. You know, it's always changing, but I love, and every artist came to me in their own way, which has been great. So, and I've loved that. And we're creating memories together, and just getting to work again with my managers every day with their clients is it's exciting.
Right. So now you obviously have a hold of things now. So what do you look for when like making additions to your team in terms of like artists? What do you look for in an artist before taking?
Well, I think I look more to my team now to tell me what they feel is the best fit, because I'm the guy who would want to have 1,000 artists. I would love to be able to help everybody if I could. And I have to rely on my team to come back to me and be like, hey, you don't have space right now, or you don't have time, or don't spread yourself too thin, but they also have to have the right thing. And I want them to be passionate about it. So I want them to bring the artist to me and be like, hey, I'm excited about this. I'm really pumped about this artist. For instance, there's a young kid named Tyler Dial that we have signed, and Alicia, who is Haley's day-to-day, brought him to me and said, I'm really into this music. Will you listen to it? And I listened to it. And I was like, oh my God, this music's amazing. Can we please talk to Tyler? And we did. And I was like, I'm in. What do we need to do? Like, I'm 100% in. And it was all based on the music. I'd never even seen him play live before. I just heard it and I met him and I liked him. And I was like, well, Leash, I trust you. And I think that's the biggest thing, is when you trust the team that's around you implicitly. I mean, I trust them. So when they decide to make a decision, they come to me and they say, look, this is what I want to do. And I back them. And I'm like, let's go then. And we're doing it. So that's kind of what I do, is I put it back on my team now.
Okay, awesome. So then another music business type question. So personally, like me as a young music business professional, like what do you recommend, obviously going into this, as you're like seeking jobs and stuff, what do you recommend going into this like post-COVID era? Obviously the whole industry basically spent like the year off the road. So
Right.
I mean, obviously there's not as many opportunities right now and stuff. How do you recommend someone stands out?
Well, I think right now, it depends on what you want to do. Do you want to be an agent? Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be in production? Do you want to be on the road? I think each one has its own thing. One, you have to be present to win. So you have to be in Nashville. So if you want to be in Nashville, if you want to work in the Nashville industry, you have to at least get here and get into the game. You network. I mean, there's a lot of networking opportunities here. I think an opportunity is you take any job that you can get. You got to get your foot in the door somewhere.
Right.
And you might have to take a job for free and drive an Uber at night. You might have to do some of that kind of stuff to at least get your foot in the door. And again, I have, like I said, 2 employees that started out as interns that are now salaried employees that are working for me, right out of college. So I think the biggest thing is you have to be present to win. I mean, you really do. If that's as an artist and or as or somebody that wants to be in the industry in Nashville, you just have to be present to win.
Right. So then kind of also then I know a lot of schools don't have music business programs. So unless you go to school in Nashville. So what do you recommend then, say, for training for those people who don't go to like one of those universities?
I would get as involved in as many extracurricular activities as you can. There's not a business that's going to tell you what to do in the music business. You can read some books, but to me, a lot of it is common sense and passion. I mean, look, does this sound good? Yes. Does this look good? Yes. And having the opportunity to have a conversation with the artist that you work with and be like, look, this doesn't sound good, or this doesn't look good, or whatever. I mean, you have to be able to have an honest, nobody wants a bunch of yes men.
Right.
I think being able to do that, and I think common sense is a big one. But I mean, I would study, honestly, I was a business major. Did that really do that much for me? No. I wish I would have studied more classical, like I wish I would have studied more art and more music and more stuff like that, and more into literature. And I think opened up my mind a little bit more to the arts than I had, because I was just like, oh, business, that's what I need to do. But as long as you can add and you can figure some of that stuff out and work in group environments, add and subtract, multiply and divide. As long as you have those things down, you can settle a show. You can understand what's going on. But I think common sense is the big thing in networking. That's what our business is. Going to understand the music business. There's a great book called it's something about understanding the music business, or all you want to know about the music business. That's a great book. That can tell you a lot, probably. But I think the other thing is you can't tell is passion.
Right.
And have to have that. You have to be able to be in love with what you do every day. And every day when I wake up, every Monday is exciting for me. I love Monday because I get to start all over again. So I think a lot of people, hate Mondays or they hate their job. The life is too short. I was 42. I went all in. You have to. If you really want it, you got to go all in.
So then, obviously, when you've seen your crowds and for fans and stuff keep growing and growing, I know a couple of years ago you shared some posts, like you said, Luke was like how he started out, like just in restaurants. He wanted people to just put their food down and listen to him at least. So what has it been like to watch him go from or just all your artists and crowds grow from something like a bar, something tiny like that, to arenas?
It's awesome. It's awesome. And, I think one of the things that happens along the way is that some people kind of get upset at the success because they don't have that access anymore. Like, I used to see you at Zydeco, and now I got to see you at the arena in Birmingham. Like,
Yeah.
you at a 500 cap room. Now I'm seeing you at a 15,000 cap room. You know, some things have to happen. I mean, as an artist grows and the popularity happens, they're going to get bigger. We try to keep it as intimate and connected as possible. That's why with like Luke's fan club, he doesn't charge you to be a member. He incentivizes the bootleggers all the time as fans, and with deals and tickets and all that kind of stuff. So we try to keep it small, but I mean, watching it all happen is exciting. I mean, it really is. I mean, watching an artist get a first sellout show, like Drew Parker is about to sell out a room in Athens, Georgia, that's 500 cap, and he's going to go in and sell it out. That means 500 people decided to get up, buy a ticket, get dressed, jump into a car, drive to a venue, stand in line, go inside, see a show. I mean, that's a really big deal. Mm-hmm. So watching that happen, I get so excited about that. Like, I still to this day get really pumped about that. Like Nico, getting his #1 last week and on both charts, Mediabase and Billboard. And as excited as I get for Luke's 10th #1, I'm just as excited for Nico's first #1. And I'm like, oh my, it's like, it never gets old. It just, it doesn't. And, when Drew went #1 on the highway, and in fact, when he got added, or when Haley got added to the highway, and I hear their,
that was awesome.
Yeah. And they hear their music for the first time. It's super excited. Or like when, the Flatland Cavalry comes out of the studio and they get done and they walk out after that last session, like, we just made a great record, didn't we? I'm like, yeah, you did. It's really awesome. So like, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. So I know so you've achieved a lot of milestones in your career. So has there been a moment that's been your favorite moment, or one that's like made it all worth it?
Red Rocks was really awesome with Luke. So I got to bring all my best friends from California, Red Rocks also, and they got to spend they got to see me in my element, but they also got to enjoy watching Luke Combs from the side stage at Red Rocks, and me bringing them beers and hanging out. And like, that was a really awesome moment. I think, you know what? I'll tell you the coolest moment each time for me, I guess right now, is that moment where you get an interaction still with a fan. And I just got to see it yesterday, or not yesterday. Well, it was yesterday. I got a text message from Randy, and she sent me a message from a fan that said to Nico, that was like, thank you for, I've never felt so appreciated as a fan before. Yeah, unbelievable. Like, just to see that written out is amazing. And then the other day in Montana, we were doing a shoot with Columbia, and Luke's like, hey man, grab some hats off the bus. And he grabbed a bunch of hats, and there was a family staying next door, and he saw a bunch of kids out there. So he signed a bunch of hats, went next door, knocked on their door, and was like, hey guys. And they knew who it was. It was Luke Combs. And he's like, gave them all a bunch of hats, and found out that the family was doing their Thanksgiving that they always go away for, and they weren't able to do it until March to get everybody together because of COVID. Right. So they got everybody together. They did Thanksgiving, and Luke got to go over there and say hey to them and give them all a bunch of hats and did a group photo. That's awesome, because they all lost their mind, and just for him to I didn't have to tell him to do that. He just picked it up and went over there and did it. Like, and that's the cool thing when that happens. Or like when Haley Witters goes back to her hometown in Iowa and plays like the local venue, which holds like 700 people, and they all pack in there to see her. And they're like, just there to support her and that kind of stuff. Or when Ashlyn went home and sold out her local venue, Wendell's Dip and Branch, not too long ago, where that's the bar that she sang in coming up, at being a bar band. And now she's going back singing her music and I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, that's more than anything, it's seeing those moments where the artist and the fan get to talk, and then they turn around and they start screaming, and they're so excited they got this photo or this autograph or whatever, this moment. And then to see the artist turn around and just with a big smile on their face be like, yeah, that's cool. Right. That's what it's about, man.
Probably especially like the hometown stuff's probably especially special, like going back and like, this is where it all started for me, really. I mean, and the support is always just great. I mean, I think personally, there's a band from my hometown called Greta Van Fleet. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh yeah, dude. We were listening to them the other day. They're awesome.
Really? Yeah, they're good friends of mine. Went to like high school with them and stuff. And it's crazy to always see them come back to Frankenmuth. That's our hometown, and see what they're doing now. They have a new album coming out, I think April and stuff. So
Dude, they're awesome.
yeah. So that's always great to see like support and stuff there too and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then also then I know you feel like as your organization continues to grow, you build more and more partnerships. So what has it been like to partner with like other organizations? Like now, like obviously you've done River House for a
Mm-hmm.
long time, but like now Big Loud and stuff too.
Yeah, it's great. So I mean, we have relationships with Sony and River House, Big Loud, Warner with Drew, CAA, WME, Big Machine Music, Universal, Warner Chapel. Flood Bumstead. They're all great. I mean, it's just like it's fun to work with a lot of these teams and get the benefit of creating the bigger team together. Bouncing ideas off of each other and just celebrating wins together. I mean, I think that's another one that you want to do. I mean, and I think the other thing too is networking, getting to know people. Like, being able to text other managers when, like, after the Grammys, I was able to text one of the managers and be like, "Congratulations! Like, that's awesome! Like, it's congratulations on your win." And it's like supporting everybody too. It's like all those things, because it all comes back tenfold down the road when you have great relationships with everybody, and that's just it's a fun thing to be able to do that.
Right. So I know you touched on this then a little bit too. You said obviously you need to be present to win, basically.
Yep.
But what advice would you give to someone wanting to move to Nashville to pursue a career in the music business?
Come with an unbelievable drive to succeed, and don't get wrapped up in the party scene. Like, it's not about that. It's about truly being involved with your artists. So go to the rounds, enjoy the music, get that stuff, but like going out and having a beer and enjoying yourself, but like don't get wrapped up in the scene. The scene isn't what it's about. It's about making those connections and being excited about the music itself. And you can easily get lost and think that it's more than it is, and you just need to get here and be present. That's all I can really say.
Right. So I think I just have one more real question. Sure. So what do you really see then for the future of Make Wake?
Wow, that's a great question. You know what? I don't know. We have a lot of great things kind of cooking up right now. I think getting everybody back on the road is the most important thing. And once we get everybody back on the road and we really get a good feel of what's happening there, I think we'll have a really an idea of where we're going. But music is changing, the way it's delivered and the way that people are consuming it these days. And with the advent of streaming shows and all the DSPs and what's live music going to look like, I'm very excited to kind of see where it goes. But I think we just keep using all the great tools that are out there. But as a team, I'd like to see the team keep growing. I'd like to see all the artists keep growing and hitting their next level, going from selling 5,000 tickets to 1,000 tickets and 1,000 tickets to 2,000 tickets, and selling out bigger rooms and having, and the other thing I love seeing is like my staff, like I have 2 staff members now that have bought homes. I have people that are starting families. I have people chasing their dreams and stuff like that. I mean, I think that's just as big. We have a thing called the BGVs, which normally in our industry stands for background vocals, but they're your big grand vision. And each one of my staff has laid out what their grand vision is. And what we do is we work really hard to make sure that that gets executed and they're able to have that and be able to do what they want to do. So like if it's like, hey, I want to go to Hawaii for a week, then let's figure out how we get you to Hawaii for a week so you can go and unplug and do that. Or if it's, I want to backpack through Europe for a month, and let's figure out how to do that. Like, or if it's as simple as like buying your first home, then what do we have to do? Like, what does everything look like? How do we get that together for you? So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm excited about, is like watching the vision of each one of my team grow and get to where they want to be.
Kind of like a dream board type thing, really.
In a way it is, yeah. And we do it at our retreat every year, and everybody writes down what they want to do, and we go back and look at it and make sure that everybody's in a really good spot.
Awesome. That's all awesome. Well, I thank you for your time. Be sure to follow along with Kappy on Instagram at Kappy, and all your socials are like that. Thank you very much. Before you take off, I just want to say again, thank you. And just obviously, you probably know this, but you and your team are big inspirations to a lot of people, and just Luke and stuff. And it's been great to like watch you guys grow over the past few years and stuff.
Well, thank you. We don't take that for granted at all, and we really appreciate it. And if we can get one person to fall in love with the music business like we do, we did our job.
Right. Yeah. And I would say you guys helped me to do that quite a bit too. I mean, just a quick little story. I know like Luke picked up a guitar at 21 and stuff. So I started playing guitar about 2 years ago now, because I'm 22 right now, because I was like, oh, Luke did it at 21. I have like 6 months on him right now. I'm like 20 and a half at this point. So I started picking up and playing it thanks to Luke, really.
Dude, awesome. I cannot wait to tell him that. That's awesome. That's what it's all, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me.